The O'Reilly factor is on tonight.
It is not enough for leaders to say, trust us, we won't abuse the data we collect.
Caving into critics of the NSA, President Obama tries to rein in the agency. But will the changes protect your privacy? Or is it all for show? We'll run it down for you.
The amount of attention paid this week to Chris Christie makes the coverage of Benghazi at the same time and the coverage of the IRS pale in significance.
The mainstream media continues to pound New Jersey Governor Chris Christie over Bridgegate, while giving President Obama a pass on Benghazi. Howard Kurtz will be here with analysis.
It's best to get them and get it over with. Once you have it, you won't get it. Why don't you just catch it and get it over with?
I don't want it.
And the Duck Dynasty crew is back on the air. So did the Phil Robertson controversy help or hurt the show? The answer may surprise you.
Get it now, get it later. Get it now.
Caution! You're about to enter the all Greg zone. The factor begins as soon as I finish this sentence. Hi, I'm your merry munchkin, Greg Gutfeld, in for Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. Watching us. That's the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. President Obama has announced changes to the NSA, and I hope they're all for show. Call me a fan of better safe than sorry, but as long as there's evidence that the NSA could have prevented 9/11, why trash it because some media screamers find common cause against modern security? And if you disagree with me, that doesn't mean I'm against the Constitution, so spare me. When our own intelligence wants Snowden dead, that tells you that Snowden hurt us bad. He's a creep. The fact is, data mining is a must in this new world. The NSA should not be a political plaything. It works for no party. It works for you and me. Which is why I ignore the screechiest voices in the room. They may want the NSA to go away, but they have no alternative. Instead, they pretend that spying on foreigners is shocking and that mining numbers infringes on rights. Many are, to use a historical term, useful idiots, pawns that ignorantly join up with the enemies. The leftists behind the NSA attacks are against all anti-terror measures since 9/11, which is why, after every single terror plot, they cast our fear as Islamophobia. This parallels the 20th century smear of anti-communism as worse than communism. Back then, the Reds had useful idiots too, but Ronald Reagan ignored such children. Let's do the same here. And that's the memo. Now for the top story tonight, the president's NSA overhaul. Today, Mr. Obama proposed the following: that the NSA stop storing phone data from hundreds of millions of Americans. Instead, he wants to figure out another way to store the data outside government, maybe in pyramids. He also wants intelligence agencies to get a court's permission before accessing records. He says he wants to end the spying on friendly international leaders and is calling for some privacy protections for foreign citizens.
The reforms I'm proposing today should give the American people greater confidence that their rights are being protected. One thing I'm certain of: this debate will make us stronger.
It always does. Joining us now from Washington, Clifford May, president of the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, and from L.A., Fox Business anchor, the lovely Kennedy, host of the great new show, The Independents. Kennedy, I'm going to go to you first. So we can no longer spy on international figures. I thought that's what spies do. What's James Bond going to do? Sell health insurance now?
No, but should we apply everything we need to do to foreign governments and foreign agents to innocent U.S. citizens? That's the question, and it's been a false argument or a false notion of balance put forward that you have to decide is it national security or civil liberties. Now, we always need to protect civil liberties, especially of American citizens, and the NSA repeatedly crosses that line.
They say they found no violations, though, so I believe, Kennedy, you may have just stated an opinion, not a fact, which angers me deeply because I love you.
Who's they? Okay, who's they say they found no violations?
They just did a big study on it.
Let me get jump
Sure,
in
that's
there.
not vague. Cliff, what do you make of the changes?
Yeah, well, they could have been worse, I guess I would say, but I don't think any of them are very helpful. Look, everything that's been done by the NSA has been overseen by Congress and by the judiciary, by the special FISA courts, and the executive branch obviously is also known. And no, there have been no violations of anybody's constitutional rights, proven or even alleged in a serious manner. You mentioned 9/11, which we did not stop. And after that, people said, well, we need to connect the dots. Greg, you don't connect the dots unless you first collect the dots. Mm-hmm. And metadata, that's what it is. It's dots. It's electronic dots. It's electrons. We're not listening. The NSA is not listening to people's conversations, not reading their emails. It's looking for patterns in terms of these communications. Only if those patterns are established do they go to the FISA court, which is already established, and then say, okay, we got to look into this much more deeply. So there are, and by the way, the U.S. Constitution is a contract between the U.S. citizens and its government. It should not and does not apply to foreigners on foreign soil. Let's get over that idea.
Kennedy, that makes
there are a number of problems with that, by the way. I mean, when you talk about dots, how many dots should we be keeping track of? What kind of dots should we be collecting? And when people talk about dots as though they are innocuous packets, they don't have a broad or even a narrow understanding of what metadata is. And yes, you can be tracked. You absolutely can be tracked. Every device, every phone call is sending out information that is being consumed and stored by the government and has been for the last 5 years. And by the way, this is a president who his entire election process, when it came to national security, was limiting executive power and having transparency. Mm-hmm. This is hardly what I would call a transparent administration.
All right. Intelligence cannot be transparent by definition. It's got to be secret.
Secret agents are supposed to be secret. What do you make them not so secret agents? Then you totally.
So we should have more secret agents. We should have more secret agents covering,
I want to be a secret
the
agent.
United States.
No, we're not.
Well,
Nobody's saying.
You know what?
No one's
I
asking
want to
for
be
more.
a game
Kennedy,
show host. We should all be Chuck Barris. That'd be amazing.
I think that would be great if you were a game show host, Kennedy. But we're not asking for more secret agents. We're asking to let the NSA do its job and try as best as it can to protect us using the tools it has. And again, there have been no abuses so far. There could be, but there haven't been.
I'm glad you protect them, and I'm glad you claim there have been no abuses. Why are a vast majority of Americans saying that government is the problem? Why
well, government is the problem on many levels, but not on this problem.
Why are millennials leaving the Obama administration in droves? It's not necessarily because of healthcare and the economy. It's because of the Snowden
I hear music.
I'm afraid people think that the NSA is doing things that it's not doing.
You know what? That was a great debate. I almost said nothing throughout because you guys are awesome. Kennedy, Cliff.
You're sexy, Greg.
You're awesome. You're a very smart debate. I don't know who to believe now. Next on the rundown, a top official.